Hi everyone, and welcome back to the MFT YouTube channel. It's Karolyn here, and today we'll be playing with a few new products to create this fun interactive card. As you can see, when I pull on the pull tab, the sun rises from the bottom right corner to the upper right corner. I created the mechanism for this card using the new Launch Party Die-namics, which is a super versatile die set that includes everything you need to launch an object on your card into the air. I can't wait to show you how it works. The Launch Party Die-namics includes a die to cut a pull tab, a strip with a narrow track, which I typically cut out of acetate, a collar to help keep the pull tab aligned, 2 half-inch circles that will be used to cap off 2 slider elements, and a gasket which will be used to keep the brad from slipping out of the track. Again, I would typically cut this out of acetate. There's also a slot or a channel die, as well as a die to cut a 1/8 inch hole. I die cut the channel die from a panel that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and notice that I place the channel towards the bottom left corner of the panel, aligning it about 1/4 inch from the bottom and left edges. I'm attaching the acetate strip to the pull tab with a brad, and I'm placing the brad through the pre-cut holes and bending the prongs on the back of the pull tab. I've aligned the assembled pull tab on top of the slot in the panel, and I'll temporarily secure it with some washi tape. Then I'll flip the panel over to the back, and I'll place one of the slider elements through the channel, attaching it to the back of the pull tab. I should mention that I put double-sided tape on both sides of each of the slider elements off camera, and I've placed the first slider element towards the left end of the channel in front of the brad prongs. I've capped off the first slider element with one of those half-inch circle die cuts, and now I'll place the second slider element through the channel and attach it to the back of the pull tab exactly like I did before. The slider elements will allow the pull tab to slide freely, but stay inside the channel, and they'll also act as stoppers to keep the pull tab from going too far in either direction. Next, I'll slide that acetate strip up so that the right end of the slot is positioned just above the top of the pull tab. I'll mark the end of that slot with a pencil, and then I'll use that 1/8 inch circle die to die cut that hole. And I should mention that I've done these steps a little out of order. You can see that I'm having to remove the pull tab from the channel in order to die cut the hole. It's not a big deal, but in reality, it probably would have made more sense to die cut the hole before I attached the pull tab. Luckily, I was able to remove and replace the assembled pull tab without damaging anything. I've temporarily secured the pull tab with a piece of washi tape, and I've folded the collar die cut on the pre-scored lines and added some double-sided tape to one end so that I can adhere it together, and another piece on the back of the collar so that I can slip it onto the end of the pull tab and adhere it to the panel. This is another component of this mechanism that will help keep the pull tab aligned without the bulk of thick foam tape. I'll carefully remove that washi tape and slide that strip up so that the end of the slot aligns with the hole in the panel. I'll place the acetate gasket over the acetate strip, and I'll slide another brad through the 3 holes and bend the prongs on the back of the panel. And you can see when I pull on the pull tab, the acetate strip launches to the upper right corner of the card. If I want an object to have larger rotation, I can easily extend the channel by die cutting it once in the lower left corner of the panel, and then extending the channel by doing a partial die cut to the left end of the panel. This will give that acetate strip more room to rotate from left to right and end up in the center of the card instead of in the right corner. Okay, I'm back to the first panel that we created. I want to add that sunshine to the end of the acetate strip to show you how it launches. I'll adhere a foam square just above the end of that slot, and then I'll adhere the sunshine. And I'll trim off the excess acetate with my scissors. We left the strip long so that you have options. Another variation of this mechanism would be to adhere an object to the pull tab so that it slides right at the same time as the sun is being launched. I'm using this flamingo as an example, but I'm fully aware that he's walking backwards. I trimmed a 1/4 inch by 2 inch acetate strip. I've adhered it to the left end of the pull tab with double-sided tape, and I'll then adhere the flamingo to the end of the acetate strip with a foam square. Keep in mind that the green acetate strip needs to be placed underneath the red acetate strip in order to not impede the movement of the mechanism. So let's put this mechanism to work, shall we? I've done all the non-mechanism related stamping and coloring off camera so that I can totally focus on showing you how to assemble the mechanism, but I've listed and linked all of the MFT products that I used below. Okay, so I want to hide the mechanism behind the scenes. So I created some sand dunes using the Snowy Scene Builder Dynamics, and I adhered them together, and I'm tracing the top line so that I know where to place the channel and the pull tab. I've positioned the acetate strip on top of the pull tab, and I'll secure them together with a brad through the pre-die cut holes. Next, I'll position the pull tab onto the panel, and using the pencil drawn lines of the sand dunes, I'll draw some lines where the pull tab will be located. And those lines will assist me in knowing where to place my channel die, which should be about 1/4 of an inch from both the left and bottom edges. And I should mention that I'm actually doing this in the more sensible order of things. Once my channel is cut, I'll temporarily position the pull tab over the center of that channel and secure it with a piece of washi tape. I can then slide the acetate strip up so that the end of the slot in the strip sits just above the top edge of the pull tab, and I'll mark that spot with a pencil. I'll use the 1/8 inch circle die to cut that hole for the brad. Now I can temporarily reposition the assembled pull tab back over the center of the channel, and I'll flip the panel over to the back. I'm adhering the first slider element through the channel and onto the back of the pull tab with double-sided tape, and I'll cap it off with one of the 1/2 inch circle die cuts. And I'll do the same thing again with the second slider element and cap. Again, these will act as stoppers as well as a track to keep the pull tab aligned and inside the channel. Next, I'll fold and adhere the collar die cut together with double-sided tape, and I'll slide it onto the end of the pull tab and adhere it to the panel with another piece of double-sided tape. I really love the simplicity of this collar component. It's the best thing I found to keep things aligned without the bulk of foam tape. Now that the pull tab is secured to the panel, I can remove that washi tape. And before I assemble anything else, I want to erase all the pencil markings that I made before. I adhered my 2 sand dunes together with tape runner adhesive, but I wanted to note that I needed a little more coverage to hide the mechanism, so I adjusted them so that one sand dune was higher than the other. I've also placed a double layer of foam squares on the upper right portion of the sand dunes. It's important to not place any adhesive that will interfere with the movement of the mechanism, so I placed most of the double layer of foam squares on the bottom portion of the image panel so that I know for sure that nothing will prevent the mechanism from working properly. And now we can assemble the rest of our card. I've stamped, colored, and die cut many of the darling images from the Sun-Lovin Santa stamp set, and I'm adhering them to my scene with foam squares. Since I'm a snowbird, this Sun-Lovin Santa stamp set is right up my alley. Check out Santa's threads. And what's not to love about a Santa hat wearing flamingo carrying a yummy pineapple drink on his back? Seriously, could this set be any cuter? Okay, I've pulled the pull tab out so that I know where to adhere the sun die cut. I'll adhere a foam square to the acetate strip just above the slot, and then I'll adhere the sun, and I'll do a check to make sure everything is moving according to plan. I noticed that a little bit of the sun die cut is peeking above the top of the sand dunes, but never fear, our Santa hat wearing flamingo is here to save the day. I'll just strategically place him so that no sun will be revealed before it's time. I die cut a cloud from smooth white cardstock using the Puffy Clouds Die-namics, and I'll adhere it to the image panel using tape runner adhesive. I stamped one of the sentiments from the Sun-Lovin Santa stamp set onto some poppy cardstock using Sweet Tooth pigment ink, and I die cut it using the Skinny Strips Die-namics. I'll adhere it to the image panel using foam squares. I'll adhere the assembled panel to an A2 horizontal top folding smooth white card base using foam squares. And I realize that this is maybe more dimension than some would like, but it's important to give the mechanism a little bit of clearance on both the front and the back so that everything works like a well-oiled machine. And check out the end result. Honestly, this would be such a fun holiday card to send to anyone who enjoys a little bit of sunshine at the holidays. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll give this fun interactive launch party mechanism a try for yourself. I know I'll be using it again and again. Thanks for watching and have a great day.